First things first, do you who is the richest man in the world as of 2024? Depending on what aspect of their lives you're looking at, there are two main viewpoints on billionaires. Being a kind guy all around and accumulating that much riches is tough. Some even think it's unachievable. It all comes with a vision. You might therefore conclude that they are wise, smart people based on their business activities and the goods and services they and their businesses have provided. Here is the answer to the hot question. The richest man in the world is Bernard Arnault, the French businessman who founded an incredible array of luxury companies, including Tiffany, Bulgari, Dior, Louis Vuitton, and more. The dark truth about this billionaire is this. Bernard Arnault, the chairman and CEO of LVMH, didn't become the richest man on the block by accident. There can only be one richest man on Earth, and for the past few years, that person has been Amazon billionaire Jeff Bezos. However, Arnault maintains a track record of surpassing Bezos from the top spot. Not only that, Elon Musk's fortune dropped by 21% to $194.6 billion in 2024, making Bernard Arnault eligible to pass up the all-time superstar of innovation, Elon Musk. According to Forbes, as of the end of July 2021, Arnault had a $500 million lead over Bezos. He has jumped up there a few times, so it's unclear whether he will stay there. Regardless of his ranking as the world's richest man, there is a dark side to both his fortune and the business that initially made it possible for him to amass such money. There's a reason why Bernard Arnault is referred to as the Wolf in Kashmir. Bernard Arnault's financial practices earned him the moniker the Wolf in Kashmir. According to France 24, Arnault truly got his start when he acquired control of his father's real estate company. Prior to it, he had raised the company's profitability, but now that he was in charge, he was able to buy the failing textile business, Boussac, which was the owner of Dior. That's when things became really violent. After selling most of the Boussac companies, he started making investments in LVMH, the newly formed Louis Vuitton Corporation. He began buying shares in 1987 and eventually became the company's largest shareholder. Yes, that was according to one of his plans. He was able to forcefully remove the chairman of LVMH and the majority of the board's officers with the support of his ownership of shares. From then on, Arnault significantly grew the business by acquiring a number of high-end brands. He became known as the Wolf in Kashmir for the rude way he forced others out of their board positions in order to seize control of the business. Louis Vuitton burns its overstock. Bernard Arnault's enterprises, like all major apparel manufacturers, will never be able to sell every item they produce. As Vox notes, Louis Vuitton, a division of the LVMH conglomerate, burns their overstock. To be perfectly honest, H&M, Burberry and less valuable brands like Walmart, Nike and Urban Outfitters also engage in this practice, so Louis Vuitton isn't the only premium apparel company doing it. But remember, it is an environmental pollution act. On the other hand, according to Vox, businesses burn clothing to raise their costs by creating a sense of scarcity, which is very arrogant given that there are underprivileged people in all corners of the world who are in dire need of appropriate clothing. Yet, clothing for the less fortunate wouldn't increase Arnault's income. Bernard Arnault earns sufficient wealth to solve many of the issues faced by humanity, yet he fails to. Generally speaking, this is one of the main criticisms of the extremely wealthy that people voice. These individuals hold on to the money that continues coming in and build up more fortune than they could ever spend in a number of generations. Let me bring up an example. According to Fortune, Bernard Arnault is worth over $197 billion as of June 2021. To put it into perspective, according to Global Giving, it would require between $7 billion and $265 billion per year to completely end world hunger. If nothing else, Arnault could therefore continuously feed the great majority of the world's hungry for a while without going bankrupt. Last but not least, Dior used low-cost labor on another continent. While it is true that businesses do exploit the weak economies of developing nations, many of us would prefer that they didn't. The low-income individuals in these regions are exploited for a far smaller wage than what laborers in wealthy countries are prepared to put in. It's natural to believe that the firms with the lowest costs are those who employ people who can't even afford to buy food to produce their goods. According to the New York Times, Dior used inadequate Indian companies that they hired to emblazon their clothes. There were no emergency exits in the building, the floors were coated in mud, the workers sewed by hand, and the windows were barred. That is in spite of the fact that LVMH signed the 2016 Uthan Accord, which aimed to ensure factory safety in Mumbai, and elevate Indian embroiderers. This is the end of this video. Remember, every bright person in life is not always bright. Comment your thoughts and ideas about the untold dark truths about Bernard Arnault.